quarterback.
Oh, there's a goal! Oh, at least I thought he was gonna until he blew it.
Hello everyone, how's it going? It's C-Rad from C-RadTV, and welcome to the February edition of Detroit Pistons Monthly. So a pretty eventful month for the Pistons in February. It had everything from wins, to blown leads, to a trade deadline in between and the All-Star break. But through all of that, let's go through and see how the Pistons are doing as they push for a playoff spot. So in terms of how the Pistons did in the month of February, the Pistons went 7-3 in the month of February. Ironically, that is their record in their last 10, 7-3. They enter March on a one-game losing skid. They currently sit 29-31, 7th in the Eastern Conference. Entering March, the Pistons are 17.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Bucks. At this point, the division is pretty much out of reach. The Pistons will not be coming close to it this year. However, since they are 7th in the East, the Pistons are currently in a playoff spot. They only lead 9th place, the Charlotte Hornets, by a game and a half. As we get closer to the playoffs, and every game from here on out will mean everything for the Pistons. So in terms of their 7 wins, their wins came against the likes of Denver, 2 wins against the Knicks, a win against Washington, a win against Atlanta, a win against Miami, who Miami is also in the playoff race, still a big critical win down the line, as to who could get in the playoffs and who could be left out. And a win against Indianapolis. In a couple of these games, the Pistons should have won the game against the Clippers, but they went and blew a 25-point lead, letting their foot way off the gas. Honestly, that game is an example of what happens when you let your foot off the gas. You let somebody catch up. Honestly, just keep your foot on the gas at all times. I don't care if we have to win a game by 40 or even 50 points. Just give the fans 4 good quarters, play 100% to the best of your ability. Well, even the second game against the Knicks, the Pistons blew a 21-point lead, only for the Pistons to end up winning by 17. So it's like the Pistons let them catch up, only to go pull back ahead. But yeah, Pistons got to get better at holding a lead. Just give the fans 4 good quarters. Not that goddamn hard to ask for. But in terms of how the Pistons did overall, throughout the month, the Pistons in the month of February, they had 1,136 points in 10 games, averaging 113.6. Pistons in the same time gave up 1,071 at an average of 107.1 points a game. The field goal percentage was 46.5%. 3-point percentage was 39.9%. Yeah, just missed 40% by just a little bit. Better luck next time. In terms of free throws, Pistons were 75.7% on completion. So, free field goals at 3 points look pretty good. They could be a little bit better, but hey, not too terrible. The free throws, they could definitely be a lot better than that. The Pistons can do a lot better than that. Rebounds, Pistons had 440 rebounds, averaging 44 a game. Offensive rebounds, Pistons had 100, averaging 10 offensive rebounds a game. Assists, Pistons only had 231, averaging 23.1. Pistons only had 65 steals, averaging 6.5 steals a game. Maybe Pistons can work on that defense and try and take the ball away. Pistons had 44 blocks, averaging 4.4 blocks a game. Pistons had gotten better at not turning the ball over, with only 121 turnovers in the month of February, averaging 12.1 turnovers a game. So Pistons are better at controlling the ball. Pistons had 213 personal fouls, averaging 21.3 personal fouls a game. Honestly, the Pistons need to work better on better discipline. And technical fouls, the Pistons had a total of 7. For an average of 0.7 technical fouls a game. So in terms of technical fouls, the Pistons are doing pretty decent at it. Like, there's like only a few games where they had a couple technical fouls, but that was it. Nothing major. But, you know, Pistons got to get better defensively at, be better disciplined. Can't take so many fouls in a game. But yeah, that's how they stacked up throughout the month of February. In terms of how the players did, was just take a look at the players. So in the month of February, the All-Star Blake Griffin had 231 points, averaging 23.1 points a game, had 72 rebounds, averaging 7.2 rebounds a game, and had 60 assists, averaging 6.0 assists per game. Andre Drummond had 212 points in February, averaging 21.2 points a game. Rebounds, Drummond had 161 rebounds, averaging 16.1 rebounds a game. And Drummond only had a total of 10 assists, averaging 1.0 assists a game, or 1 assist. Bruce Brown Jr., oh boy. Time for that segment on how we shit on his offensive stats. Bruce Brown only had 35 points in February, averaging 3.5 points a game. He had 17 rebounds, averaging 1.7 rebounds a game. And assists, Bruce had 11 assists, averaging 1.1 assists a game. So offensively, he's garbage, but he can play well, very well defensively. I'll let you figure that one out. Reggie Jackson had 197 points in February, averaging 19.7 points a game. Rebounds, Reggie had 18, averaging 1.8 rebounds a game. And assists, Reggie had 48 assists, averaging 4.8 assists a game. So Reggie, Drummond, and Griffin, Reggie and Drummond really stepped up from January to February. Big time. Because remember, at the end of my January Detroit Pistons monthly, I said everyone on the team needed to step up their game. Drummond and Jackson answered the call. How about that? Continuing on, Luke Kennard, he had 108 points in February, averaging 10.8 points a game. He had 26 rebounds, averaging 2.6 rebounds a game, and 21 assists, averaging 2.1 assists a game. Langston Galloway had 67 points in February, averaging 6.7 points a game. He had 13 rebounds also, averaging 1.3 rebounds a game, and 9 assists total, averaging 0.9 assists in February per game. To the two players that did get traded, Reggie Bullock only played 3 games. He was traded after the first game against the Knicks, as he was traded to the Lakers for Saivi Makayuk and a second-round pick in 2020. But in the 3 games Reggie played, he had 49 points, averaging 16.3 points a game. He had 15 rebounds, averaging 5 rebounds a game. And he had 7 assists, averaging 2.3 assists a game. So he was doing pretty well offensively. But the other player, Stanley Johnson, he had played only 3 games. He had 27 points in those 3 games, averaging 9 points a game. Had 10 rebounds, averaging 3.3 rebounds a game. And 5 assists, averaging around 1.7 assists per game. Of course, originally Stanley Johnson was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for Thon Maker. Don't worry, we get to Thon in a little bit. And then Stanley was then proceeded to be traded to the Pelicans in what would end up being a 3-team trade. But we get Thon Maker, who was pretty good at throwing the 3 points. So continuing on, Saivi Makayuk, he only played 1 game total. In that 1 game, he had 3 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists. We can't really use that to scope anything on Saivi. You know, hopefully he gets some more playing time and we get to see more out of him. Maybe in the near future. We're just going to have to wait and see how he goes. Like, I think this could be a project in the works. But continuing on, next up we have Thon Maker. In the games he did play, he played only 7 games. He had 28 points in those 7 games, averaging 4 points a game. He had 20 rebounds, averaging 2.9 rebounds a game, and 2 assists, averaging 0.3 assists per game. And then the final player we will talk about this month for the Pistons, Wayne Ellington, who the Pistons acquired via waivers when Phoenix waived him. And Ellington played only 6 games, but Ellington has been a real good piece to the offense to help replace Reggie Bullock. Ellington in the 6 games, he only had 55 points, averaging 9.2 points a game. Rebounds, he had 15 rebounds, averaging 2.5 rebounds a game. And he had 6 assists, averaging 1 assist per game. So, a few of these players, they can still afford to step their game up. I think we should give Mikhailiuk some more playing time, so we can see what he really can be as a player. Like, we can't really scope what he has by only 1 game. But we'll have to see how Dwayne Casey wants to do this. But in terms of February, currently, as we look closer toward the playoffs, so far, no teams have been mathematically eliminated yet, and no teams have mathematically clinched themselves in yet. So we will not get to see the playoff bound or the eliminated club yet. But in terms of the Pistons, I think they should make the run at the playoffs this year. They got the talent. It's just all on Dwayne Casey and his coaching strategy. Can Dwayne Casey be the great coach that he was in Toronto, or is he just going to be another bust? Just got to wait and see. The odds of the Pistons currently making the playoffs right now is at 88%. So there's a chance that they could mess this up and completely miss. March is going to be another critical month because they play a lot of good teams in March. Teams like Toronto, teams like the Lakers, teams like Miami. So the game against Miami is going to be big in terms of playoff implications. Same deal with Brooklyn. They also got to play Orlando. So the games against Brooklyn, Miami, and Orlando are going to be big in terms of the playoff standings. The Pistons also got to play Portland twice, and they got to play Golden State. So yeah, they got some tough games this month, and they also got to play Denver again. But yeah, overall, in terms of who I want the Pistons to play, I think the Pistons should go for the 6th seed. They're only behind Brooklyn by 1.5 games for 6th seed, so they should make a run at it. Right now, the playoffs start today. The Pistons would play the Raptors in round 1. Raptors, I'd say 50-50. It depends on how we do in the 2 games we play Toronto this month. Excuse me, but the Bucks, I don't want to play the Bucks in round 1. The Bucks will just completely destroy the Pistons. The Pacers, I think we stand a very good chance against. So I think we should push to try and play the Pacers. But in terms of that, because after Brooklyn, it's Boston in 5th. And Boston's just too far ahead to catch up. But yeah, that's all there is to say for Detroit Pistons Monthly February 2019 edition. I'll see all yous back here in March. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, peace out.
Oh, there's a goal!